Hello and welcome back. This is episode 7 of the HigherUp podcast. I'm your host, Michael Smoke, or HigherUp Wellness, as you may know me from TikTok or Instagram or various social media outlets. And today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 6 quotes that changed my life and why they changed my life. Now, if you follow my content for a little while, you know that I made a video about 11 quotes that changed my life with no explanation as to why, to leave it up for interpretation. But today, I'm going to take that interpretation away. Excuse me, I had a little burp there. Because at times, I think it's important to just hear the quote and let it resonate, because when I heard these, they struck me without explanation. But maybe you're not in that walk of life, you're not in that chapter of life, because sometimes when you hear things is just as important as how or what they consist of, and they may hit differently if you hear it a year from now as opposed to today. But I'm going to add context to maybe pad the meaning behind these quotes and why they had an impact on me, in hopes that maybe they'll have an impact on you too. I know there's 6, there was 5, but as you can see here, if you're watching on YouTube, I made the 5 a 6 because I added one right at the bottom that I felt was important. It was really tough to choose the top 6 out of the 11, or actually the 22, because I think I've done that twice now. Quotes, but these are the ones that I think about just about every day, and I want to share them with you. Maybe you've heard them, maybe you haven't heard them with explanation or with my spin on them, and that's what I'm going to do. Before I get started, quickly, I want to just say thank you for watching if you're here for the first time. If you're here again, welcome back. I'm glad to have you. I did launch a community called the HigherUp Lifestyle. The goal is to build a community of like-minded people striving to be better versions of themselves. I know it's hard out there to find people who want to hit their protein goal and get steps and get morning sunlight. We're a fairly niche crowd. And I'm trying to build a solid community of people that want the same things, because I think if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. It's just $10 a month, 2 Starbucks coffees, a little less now, of your investment of your hard-earned money. And if you want access to courses on fat loss playbooks, muscle building playbooks, how to build your own workout program, and mindset training, I am releasing a series I call the Playbook Series. Inside of there, the Fat Loss Playbook is out now. It's a step-by-step chronological playbook to how to lose fat forever. The answers are always going to be in my content for free, but the problem with my content is it's like my brain, a little bit scattered. So I have a fat loss video over here, and then a month later, I may talk about it again. This is a cohesive, chronological, itemized list of exactly how to do this for yourself or forever. So if you're interested, the link is in my bio on my social medias, and I'll drop it in the YouTube description below as well. If the goal is to really get as much as I can out of this episode in a short amount of time, I don't want to yap about the quotes for too long because I want to keep this concise and valuable for you all. So let's just get started. I have these ranked sort of in the order of what is most significant to me versus what is least significant, but they're all pretty damn significant. But I tried to say, like, what was my number 1? What was my number 2? The first one, you've probably all heard me say at this point, but I'm going to talk about why I like it. The first one is from Alex Hormozy, and it's, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. So outwork your self-doubt. So many of us aren't successful or aren't fit or aren't where we want to be financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, because we don't have confidence. But confidence without evidence is delusion. And maybe there's a place to be a little delulu here and there, but you simply cannot have belief in yourself if you have not given yourself reasons to believe in oneself. You have to stack proof. I love the way he says that. Stack of undeniable proof. What does undeniable look like? For me, no one can tell me I'm not a runner, because I've run a marathon. I've run an ultra marathon. I've consistently run a minimum of 10 to 15 miles a week for 2.5 years now. And that is an undeniable proof. I have confidence in myself that I am a runner, that I can do physically challenging things. That proof is undeniable, and no one can take that from me. Maybe it's not about being a runner. Maybe it's about being a more fit person. Okay, well, but Michael, I'm 300 pounds, or I'm still a year out from where I want to be. Any proof is proof, even if it's as small as I went for a 10-minute walk today. It's easier to say I am a fit, healthy person after you ate the protein and went for the 10-minute walk than it is to say, I am a fit and healthy person in the mirror in the morning before you've done any of those things. And that's why the beginning of that quote is so important. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror. You don't just wake up and go, I am fit, I am healthy. Sure, that's fine. You want to do it, fucking go for it. I don't care. The point is, it's a lot easier to believe yourself than after those actions are taken than it is to say, I am those things, and then not go out and fucking do them. So if you want to build confidence in yourself, you have to stack proof. And if you want to build confidence in a specific arena, you need to stack proof close to that arena. And maybe you're starting from ground zero. Proof can be as small as making your bed and keeping your space clean and having a positive internal dialogue, or as big as doing your first Ironman, running your first ultra. Those are big moves, but it starts with the micro wins. This isn't on the list, but James Clear says every action you take is casting a vote for the person you will become, no matter how big or small. So start small, because every win is a win for your conscience, for your confidence, for your discipline. But every loss, no matter how big or small, is a strike against your confidence and your discipline. So if you want to change the way you feel about yourself, I have a woman I'm taking on as a corporate and career coaching client, not necessarily fitness, but she's had an issue with, she's had her ego bruised and her confidence shot from some life events. And we're going to work on building and restacking that proof so that she again feels that she is who she says she is, and no one can take that from her. So if you want to become confident, stack proof, move things and cast votes in the right direction for who you want to be, and you'll be amazed if you just do the small, repeatable actions for a year, 2 years, 5 years, how far you'll come. And that's a great segue into quote number 2, which I think is incredible. And I talked about it a little bit in a TikTok I posted last night in a much more, we'll call it rudimentary manner. 90% of success comes down to doing the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time without convincing yourself you're smarter than you are. A lot to unpack there. I heard that for the first time from Alex Hormozy. I don't know who it's originally from. I'm sorry. But this was a paradigm shifting moment for me when I looked at what I wanted my life to look like. When I quit my corporate job and went out on a whim and started trying to build this higher up wellness thing, I looked at what I wanted it to be, and I didn't know how to get there. But I knew what got me to the point where I was able to quit my job, which was I just kept showing up. The obvious thing is just showing up. If you want to get fit and you want to get ripped, you want to have an insane physique, it's not going to happen in 30 days. It might take years. It took me 8 years to build the physique I have now, albeit I could have done it better or more optimal or gone on more bulks. I won't go down that pathway. Probably could have my results in 4 or 5 years in that I got in 8. That's not the point. The point is I just did the obvious thing. Even if it was I'm pressed for time, I have no access to a gym, I'm traveling, I hit the floor and did 150 push-ups. I just kept going. And then 8 years later, people just see the byproduct of the end result. Poof, biceps, pecs, and a physique. But what they don't see is 90% of what I have is just from doing the obvious thing. So if you want to build a physique, do the most obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time. Anyone that's a millionaire, a billionaire, has an insane body, has stuck to the basics for a period of time that most people aren't willing to. They just kept showing up. You want to build wealth? You put a little bit of money in an account or in an investment or in the market, whatever you want to put your money into for an extraordinary period of time. They say a great practice is to have 6 months of living expenses in a savings account. Not everybody has that, but I've been able to build that because I've just put a little bit away for an extraordinary period of time. So I think that this is one of the most powerful quotes on the list. And I just want to encourage you, no matter where you are, building a business, building a body, tell yourself repeatedly, I just have to do the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time without convincing myself that I'm smarter than I am. And that's an interesting end to the quote, and maybe it's up for interpretation. But to me, in my business, I want to build HigherUp Wellness to be a brand so much bigger than me. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about you. I want it to be a lifestyle and a mindset that drives people to become the best version of themselves. It's about not taking on more than I need to or should. It's not diverting my attention in 10 different ways to grow the business, but getting really proficient and providing as much value as I can to you, because this doesn't happen without you listening to me, on a couple of things to get focused. I think I heard a billionaire say a lot of people never get rich because they have real estate investments, and maybe they have a lawn care business, and maybe they have the stock market, and maybe they have a 401k, and maybe they have a side business with a buddy, and they're trying to be spread so thin and do all these things that they can never focus their attention. So if you want to be successful, focus. Don't convince yourself you're smarter than you are. Learn to do a few things really well and become super powerful at it. 90% of success can be boiled down to doing the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time. Quote number 3. This one's interesting and a little bit more of maybe emotional or a little woo-woo, but in my world where people say negative things to me every day, positive things too, but I get bashed on the internet. That's fine. It happens. This is important to remember. Words can only hurt you to the degree that you believe they are true. I'm going to read that again. Words can only hurt you to the degree that you believe they are true. The first time I heard that, I felt like I had just been metaphorically punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson, because I realized if anyone says anything to me that offends me, that's my problem. That's not your problem. You're either projecting a reality onto me that is from you and you're bitter and resentful, which most of the time is what people on TikTok do. They're saying in you something that they don't like about themselves and they're projecting. And that's, if you find yourself on a journey trying to be successful and people shit on you, 99.9% of the time, assuming you're not an asshole and you're trying to do the right thing, they're projecting. They're jealous, they're sad, they're mad. And that's fine. I take pity on those people. But if someone tells me that I'm spreading misinformation and I know that I'm spreading misinformation, I'm going to be very triggered by that because I believe it to be true. But a couple of months ago, I had a video about creatine go very viral and was fortunate to have it blow up to over 8 million views now. And I had a bunch of people tell me that I'm just pushing a product. I'm peddling a product. Guy who sells creatine tells you should take creatine, shocker. But I don't believe that to be true because that's not what my page is about. It's just one video. And those people have never seen my page and they have no clue what I'm about. So it doesn't hurt. I don't lose sleep over it because I know it's not true. Now, I want to challenge all of you to take this into your personal life because it can be a huge protection mechanism. And if you're aware of what degree you believe the people are saying things to you are true, you can gauge, does that deserve an emotional response? Does it deserve any response? Not many things do deserve an emotional response. So words can only hurt you to the degree that you believe they're true is one of the most powerful things that I've ever heard. And if you believe they're true and they hurt you, maybe you should change them. Maybe that's an honest time that you should audit yourself. But if they're not true and you know you're doing the right thing, then fuck them. Keep doing you. Fuck that person. They're bitter. They're angry. They're resentful. They're shitty. And you will never be shit on by anybody doing better than you. I want to make that very, very clear. Shout out David Goggins for that one. Sorry, I've been perpetually sick for like 7 weeks now. I'm starting to get a little bit worried. That's okay though. We'll press on. I'll keep taking my little probiotics and my little vitamins. That's all I have to say about quote number 4. And that is one of my favorites. These are all my favorites. I think I had one more thought that I wanted to add, but if it comes to me, I'll bounce back to it. This is my podcast. It's just me in my little room here. I can talk however I want. Speaking of ADD, check this out. I moved my podcast set in my office, and now if I ever have a little a guest appearance, I have a little warm setup, like between two ferns. I've got a little table. We can have coffee. I can sit there. They can sit there. Wait, sorry. Point is, this is a neat little place, right? This is cool. This is an office in an office space in Metro Atlanta. Buddy of mine was kind enough to let me rent out some space from him, but it's nice to have a true studio and not just be in my house. Okay, back to the show. Words can only hurt you to the degree that you already believe they are true. Let's go on to quote number 5. This one has a bit of a corny intro, and I think it's a little extra, but the message bundled in the middle hits so hard, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. And this is I heard it from Chris Williamson. I don't believe that it's his quote. But quote number 5 reads, "A reminder to the gladiators in the arena who feel beaten and scarred with no hope in sight. Building a business is hard. Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like." Ugh. Every time I read that out loud, I get chills. But it's about more than building a business. Anything worth doing is hard. It's challenging. Building a great physique if you're 100 pounds overweight is hard. Continuing to build a great physique, even at the point where I'm at of 8 years of regular training and nutrition, is hard. It's not easy, but that's okay. It's something it awakened in me and made me feel so self-aware and brought me a sense of peace when I read "Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like." I thought, okay, something about that made it okay. It's okay that something is hard. When your muscles are burning and you're pushing to failure, that's hard. And that feels shitty. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but that's just what hard feels like. And there's another quote that's sort of a segue on that. And it's something that actually, you know what? I don't want to butcher it, but I don't edit these. They're raw as a dog. But it's sort of a tail end to the quote that I just read. "Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why even bother, I remind myself that this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. But you can, so keep going." sort of a two-parter. And I've hit that point a lot in my building my business in this entrepreneurial endeavor. The start of every month is scary because it's, where I'm going to create value this month. What am I going to do to earn my living? I'm 100% commission based and I am the company. And that's scary. That's very scary. It's very fulfilling and rewarding and fun at times, but it's terrifying. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's all been gravy. I basically I've had a crippling panic attack at the first of every month for the last couple of months, wondering where the next buck's going to come from. And every month it works out and I'm fortunate. I don't know why I worry. I end up having no issues and things go well and I help a bunch of people and I'm very happy. But I think that fear keeps me going. I think it keeps me driving and moving forward and trying to think about the next best way to change someone's life positively. So I share that quote with you to remind you that no matter what journey you're on, fitness, finance, building your own business, there are going to be times where it's just fucking hard and hard feels shitty. And that's why people quit and that's why they don't win. People give up when it's hard because it feels shitty. But if you look at any great entrepreneur and listen to their stories or what they wanted to accomplish, they all talk about this time of suffering. For Alex Hormozy, it was sleeping on the floor of his gym, listening to people his age partying on the roof above him while he was waking up and working 12-hour days. And now he's worth $100 million. For Chris Williamson, the host of the Modern Wisdom podcast, it was making episodes for months with nobody listening, wondering when something was going to take off. And eventually he stuck to something for an extraordinary amount of time and became an overnight success in 3 years, right? So I want you to remind yourself when it gets difficult, when it gets challenging, that hard feels shitty and this is what hard feels like. And that's okay. Just keep going. What matters is that you keep showing up. These quotes all, I'm realizing now in the moment, build on each other. Keep showing up for an extraordinary period of time and doing the obvious thing, even when hard happens, because hard feels shitty. And this is what hard feels like. And this is why most people quit and why they don't win. That could all be one quote. And every day I try to tell myself these. I write them down in my journal, my gratitude journal, new little thing that I'm doing. Haven't been very good about sticking to it. And it brings me a sense of peace. And I hope that when things get difficult for you, you can lean on the fact that hard feels shitty and this is what hard feels like and that's okay. And keep moving forward, because anyone or anything worth having or anyone who has a life that you emulate felt those things at one time. And I take a great deal of peace in that. And I'm overwhelmed and overcome with a sense of it's all going to be okay. So maybe you are too. Number 6, and the final quote. I had to add it in here because it triggered something in me that made me launch the community, the HigherUp lifestyle that I alluded to in the beginning of the episode. It's a very simple cliche, but there's a reason cliches are cliches, and that's because they're true. And anyone who says they're not true just probably isn't practicing the cliche. Number 6 reads, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. Now, there's so much more to unpack there than the one sentence shows. I think a lot of times people are stuck in analysis paralysis or paralysis by analysis. They study and they analyze a situation for so long and wonder about what's the best angle to take or what's the best way to start that they end up doing nothing at all. And I think paralysis by analysis is the quickest way to kill an idea or a business or inspiration or a product or service, whatever you want to build. It's thinking too much. I saw a hilarious video from a TikToker whose name I can't remember, but he said, have you ever seen people on the internet who are just dumb rich and you look at them and you're like, that person's an idiot. Why do they have so much money? Dumb people, this is all his words, dumb people just take action. They just start trying shit. And if something doesn't work, they move on to the next thing. Smart people sit, they analyze, they calculate, they think, they look at their angles, their risk, the reward, and then they end up doing fucking nothing when the dumb person's been at it for 6 months. So again, no matter what it is, fitness, finance, business, the most important thing to be great is that you start. Alex Hormozy talked about people want to find their passion, but passion is a byproduct of starting at something that you suck at and just doing it again and again until you're great at it. And then people ask, how'd you find your passion? The answer is I started with something, I sucked at it, and I kept doing it until I was great at it. This thing I'm doing right now, podcasting, talking into this camera, staring directly out a window into a parking lot, is hard. It's very difficult, and I'm not great at it. I don't even know that I'm good at it. I wouldn't even say I am good at it, honestly. I'm stunned. Some of you listen to me yap. But I know it's going to get easier, and I know it's going to get better if I just keep showing up. If I don't miss an upload, and I do the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time, I'll become great at it. And everyone will just see the overnight success and the passion that I found. But what they don't see is the years and the months and the weeks of me fucking up and being terrible at it. So if you're sitting with paralysis analysis, or analysis paralysis rather, and you're 100 pounds overweight, wondering what the best diet is, or should I go vegan? Should I go paleo? Should I go gluten-free? Should I go carnivore? What workout split should I follow? 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week? Just fucking go to the gym. You haven't even started yet, and you're already worried about what lap 2 or 3 on the track is going to look like. Okay, you're trying to sprint and you can't even crawl. You need to just go to the gym and break a sweat. Walk 45 minutes a day. Have positive internal dialogue and positive self-talk. That's a huge one that people fuck up. How you talk to yourself is how you program and rewire your subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind really controls what we do, think, and say. So if you're looking to build a business, you have a great idea, start, just make content. I just created my TikTok page because I was finally like, fuck it. I think I have something that someone might want to hear. This is just stewing around in my brain all day. And I'm so anxious to talk about it with people that I'll hold people as a captive audience and say, did you know that if you get morning sunlight, you'll sleep better at night? And they didn't ask for that. So why don't I just create a page where the people who want to go hear about that stuff can go hear it? And here we are, almost 350,000 followers later. It's a huge blessing and I'm humbled. And I know how great this opportunity is and I don't take it for granted, but it's because I just started and I look at my early videos and I cringe, but there's still such positive feedback on them. And now, if I never would have started, if I would have tossed the idea around, who knows where I'd be? Probably in the corporate job that I wasn't in love with, working from home in meetings all day with a bunch of people that I don't know, talking about a bunch of things that I don't really care about. But instead, I'm here talking to you, living my dream life. So you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. So whatever it is, if you're listening to this right now and you've got something in the back of your mind, I'm challenging you to turn this off. It's almost over anyway. And just start. Go out and go for that walk. Go out and make the right meal choice for a healthy meal. Go out and start writing down your goals for the year. Go out and start trying to figure out, all right, what do I want this business that I've been trying to build for 6 months to look like? Go talk to the person you want to be friends with or more than friends with. Whatever. Just start. Take action. Action is the cure to anxiety and all these things you feel. It's moving forward. And that's why I added that simple quote. It may even seem a little anticlimactic to all the epic quotes in the first 5, but I think it's one of the most profound. I think that the bigger point you can get across in fewer words, the more profound it is. So that's the episode. If you're still here, 22 minutes in, drop a comment. As always, we're going to do a hashtag step check that I want you to drop in your comments. 11:47 a.m. Eastern, and I'm at 4,044 steps. I want to hear what your step check is. If you're interested in joining the community and getting an insane amount of value for a measly $10 a month, the link is in my bio on my social media pages. It's the first one there on my link tree. I'll drop the link as well to join here. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. It isn't easy, but it is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Bye now.